Hey everybody, it's Ron. Every Monday through Thursday, we talk about how some event in business history reshaped the world. But on Fridays, we talk about something completely different. These are the stories that went completely off the rails. They may have still changed the business world, just not in the way anyone wanted. These are the business bloopers. It's 2001 and you're scrolling through Amazon reviews, and at first you think it's a joke. 5-star reviews praising a ballpoint pen for finally being dainty enough. One reviewer thanks the company for making writing less intimidating. Another one says the pen fits perfectly in her tiny lady hand. Then you realize something uncomfortable. The product? It's real. It's a ballpoint pen called Bic for Her. Same ink, same function, just wrapped in pastel colors and marketed as elegant, designed supposedly for women. And the internet is having an absolute field day. Screenshots are spread everywhere, late-night hosts pile on top of it all, comment sections turn brutal. What was meant to be a harmless product extension is suddenly a punchline. Not because people misunderstood it, but because they understood it perfectly. So, okay, how did we get here? From Business Basics, I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business Bloopers, the weekly podcast where we unpack the business decisions that sounded smart until they weren't. Every Friday, I'll take you through a real story where something went off the rails. Sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's painful, but always it's a reminder that even smart people screw up in business. And we'll look at why that matters. By the early 2010s, Bic was not a company known for reinvention. Its reputation was built on ubiquity and consistency. Bic ballpoint pens were everywhere: classrooms, offices, banks, restaurants, conference rooms. The same could be said for Bic lighters and Bic razors. These were products designed to be cheap, reliable, and familiar, not aspirational or expressive. They worked, and that was the point. At the same time, consumer marketing was deeply invested in what's called segmentation. For him or for her products filled aisles at retailers like Target and Walmart, even Boots in the UK. Women's razors and deodorants and shampoos and personal care items were routinely differentiated by color, packaging language, and aesthetics. In many categories, that approach generated higher margins and repeat sales. Inside Bic, the logic likely felt straightforward. Women already bought pens. Packaging research suggested pastel colors tested well. Softer design language could signal elegance or refinement, and most importantly, the product itself, it didn't change. Same ink, same ballpoint mechanism, same manufacturing process, no engineering risk, no safety concerns. So, in 2012, Bic introduced a pastel-colored ballpoint pen marketed explicitly as Bic for Her, launching primarily in Europe, including the United Kingdom. The packaging emphasized comfort, style, and feminine qualities. The messaging framed the product as a subtle upgrade, not a reinvention. In conference rooms, it probably felt like a low-risk extension of a familiar playbook. You know what? It was anything but that.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
The reaction didn't come through sales reports or retailer feedback. It came through Amazon. On the UK's version of the Amazon platform, the product page for Bic for Her began filling with 5-star reviews that read like parody. Reviewers praised the pen for finally allowing women to write. Others thanked Bic for making ink less intimidating. Some joked about the pen fitting perfectly in delicate hands that had apparently struggled with standard pens for decades. The tone, it was unmistakable. Screenshots of the review spread rapidly across blogs and Twitter and Reddit. Media outlets, including The Guardian, the BBC, and NPR, picked up the story. What started as a niche sarcasm quickly became a mainstream punchline. Like I mentioned earlier, late-night hosts mocked the product. Marketing commenters dissected it. Opinion columns framed it as a symbol of tone-deaf branding. The speed of the backlash mattered. Within days, the narrative had hardened, and it was not one Bic could redirect. What made the response so sharp was not the gendered branding, but how unnecessary it felt. Unlike razors or clothing, a pen doesn't meaningfully interact with the body. There was no functional reason for the distinction. The product performed exactly the same as it always had. By labeling it a basic writing tool for her, Bic unintentionally suggested that writing itself required gender-specific accommodation. The internet did not debate that implication. It rejected it outright. And here's the thing. Bic didn't lose control of the narrative because they never had one.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Bic didn't issue a high-profile apology. There was no press conference, no executive interview explaining their intent. Instead, the company went quiet. Marketing stopped. Product listings on Amazon UK and other European retail sites disappeared. The Bic for Her pens were quietly pulled from circulation. But the story did not disappear with those pens. By 2013, the product had become a recurring example in marketing commentary. Publications like The Guardian and the BBC referenced it when discussing cultural awareness. Business schools folded it into case studies on segmentation and consumer perception. Late-night monologues replayed the joke long after the product itself was gone. What made the fallout linger was how avoidable the failure seemed. Bic didn't misread a demand for pens. They misread the meaning people attached to everyday objects. A pen, it's not aspirational. It's not identity-driven. It's a neutral tool. By attempting to layer identity onto something so universal, Bic turned a non-issue into a statement. Now, you've probably figured it out. The company survived. Its core products remained strong. But Bic, for her, became shorthand for a specific kind of mistake when segmentation replaces insight, and when branding creates a problem that never existed. The blooper wasn't intent, it was context. Something I like to do when I share these business blooper stories is end by spending just a little bit of time looking at what actually went wrong. So in this case, what went wrong? Bic didn't fail because it was sexist. It failed because it confused segmentation with insight. Segmentation is about identifying differences that matter. Insight is about understanding whether those differences actually change behavior. In this case, the distinction didn't exist. The physical act of writing isn't a gendered task. A pen doesn't solve a different problem depending on who's holding it. Inside the company, the move likely felt harmless, the product didn't change, the risk felt minimal, and similar strategies had worked in adjacent categories like personal care. But context had shifted. By 2012, audiences were far more sensitive to messaging that implied limitation or condescension, especially when it came from brands that had no cultural credibility in that space. The internet didn't need to organize to respond. The joke spread on its own. So let's be clear here. The lesson in this situation isn't don't segment. It's don't invent differences to justify a label. When branding creates a problem that never existed, customers will point it out for you. I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business Bloopers, part of the Business Daily podcast lineup, where we look at how business really works and sometimes how it really doesn't. New episodes drop every weekday with fun, full-length blooper stories like this one on Fridays, and quick-hit business history episodes the rest of the week. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. And if you're enjoying the ride, don't forget to leave a quick review, please. It helps more people find the story behind the business. And do you really want to understand business without the fluff, the buzzwords, or the MBA language? Start by visiting us at bsnsdailypodcast.com.